Hello, Hannah. Soul Dr. Nick here. And today is January 31st, 2025, the last day of my 12 days of musings that I committed to. And most likely I'm going to continue on with something, but I'm going to contemplate today. I don't need to declare it right away. And most likely all of February. But first of all, a reminder, this is not for general consumption. I don't invite you to watch this, but I post this out there for me, and if you choose to, that's up to you. And today's probably going to be a longer one because there's a lot of stuff going on. I just did my own internal daily musings, and that was almost 30 minutes already because there's so much. Whether it's the reality distortion field that my son is creating around his parents, and the belief that he can finish a 500-piece puzzle at the age of 4 in 2 days with a little bit of help. And yeah, totally did it, which is super crazy. Whether it's having finished watching the show Shogun and then being able to see the hero's journey, but not only that, the secret wishes and desires, the challenges that are there, and I'm tying this in with like the recent movies I've watched, like Mission Impossible and other things like that. Going back and having thanks and thoughts of my brother and my parents because they've been in my life the longest, and then noticing the traits that I really admire, traits, I think, actions, and something else that I really admire, and things that I really, almost look down on or frown on, and then seeing them in myself as well. Having dreams and visions of what's possible. Like right now we're already creating the soul immersion. It's going to be released, Ohana Sage live, and people starting to book, and then already starting to look at how do we actually create, and I'll say it out loud here just to say it, online ceremonies. How do we create containers that are super safe, because there are protocols that are super safe, and how do we make it even safer, make it accessible? Because I realized, oh man, as we're creating these soul immersions, people are going to be flying into me, or we're going to creating spaces where I fly into them, and that's a whole different barrier, but it's an important barrier. And then I just listened to Tony Robbins' day one of his 3-day kind of summit, and just being reminded that power of belief, that power of drive, that power of knowingness and certainty and pattern recognition, utilization and creation. And then his earlier stories of who he was. It's so good to hear people's earlier stories, because it's so easy to forget looking at where they are now. And you're just creating evidence after evidence after evidence. And even where I am right now, the evidence I've created. Like 5 years ago, I had such a belief after meeting someone that I looked up to, a best-selling author. I was like, I think that you could benefit from a ceremony from us. Like, what was the audacity of that? And thank you so much for saying yes and creating evidence that that belief is possible. It may not have been the result I would have wanted, and things changed. And it gave more evidence. And all these people I've worked with that at first I look at like, I'm never even going to talk to them. Like, how would I even get to know them? Now they're friends. And even though there have been differences, it's like, oh my God, I can just call them a friend. I can call them up anytime. And so that's myself. It's recognizing, who am I in this world? And then it's even the idea of, what if we are in something like the Truman Show? What if, and it's funny because I'm self-recording now, but it made me like, these people are literally self-recording themselves now. They're making the show for us, which is hilarious. And then what if the idea of, what if I'm a background person? I'm not even a main character or part of the story arc. And I'm like, this life is freaking fantastic right now. I'm going to enjoy the heck out of being a background person. And who knows what's next? Who knows if reincarnation is next, another way of being, how this infinite consciousness works. And I recognize my role in this world isn't to figure all that out. I will ask the questions more now. That's part of what I also learned, is how do I ask the questions I actually want the answers to? And in asking the question doesn't mean I'm going to get the answer in the form that I want, but it makes the possibility even more available. It doesn't mean it's impossible to get an answer without asking a question. And that's the thing that I caught myself. I was almost going to say that. That's part of it. And part of that reality distortion field our son gave us was he could see the ABC in reality already, the puzzle being completed. And he didn't have to think of what A needs to happen before B, before what happens with C. He just enrolled us to support him to make it happen. And then in doing so, he showed us the power of belief in the reality distortion field. And I use that term specifically because it reminds me of Steve Jobs and apparently what he was able to do. And it reminds me, as I'm reading the early days of SpaceX and Elon Musk, that's part of what he did. And that's part of what I'm practicing doing, even with Ohana Sage, my dear founders, and creating goals, targets, deadlines that to me are a little bit impossible in a way. And to the team, they may see it's completely possible, or they may see it's improbable. And then we work ahead and go ahead with it. And then noticing, similar to Elon Musk, I'm like, not that we need to use the money that I have, but I have this anchor, this backstop to remind us it's all going to be possible. It's not for a financial reason it's not possible. It's not for a lack of skill, talent. It's not for a lack of technology. It's not for a lack of people and contacts. It's not for a lack of the evidence we've already created. So it's just ourselves getting in our own way. And I'm so grateful for Matt. He reminds me the challenges are going to keep evolving. The challenges are going to keep changing. And it reminds me even now as I'm contemplating my 1,000-year legacy, going, I'm not trying to change every single person in the world. Everyone here has a choice. And I believe that many people will take the choice to live life in a similar manner that I can see. More wholly, more naturally, in these co-living environments where we're building things that are sustainable, where we're actually supporting each other to have our deepest dreams have a possibility of reality, where we're supporting each other even for the challenges. Like that's part of it, right? We're not looking to create a life of zero challenge for our children. And I was just thinking of the movie WALL-E and the people that eventually got everything done, and they're just these overweight, weak, tired, bored, on hovercraft things. People just every day is the same thing. You've given up the idea of safety for an abundance or an excess of comfort. And when there's excessive comfort, then we forget what are we here for. And the trap of that is excessive comfort isn't an objective thing, right? Right now, the kind of comfort we live in, if I talked to someone 300 years ago, they would say, this is excessive. I don't need all of that. And right now for me, in some ways it is excessive, in some ways it's not. And it's just to be able to recognize that, because the discomfort we can create in our own minds. The discomfort we get to create and step into what are the discomforts, the challenges we want to be with. And it's being with the discomforts and challenges that serve us more. Part of it for me, if I want to say what's uncomfortable, oh my God, opening bank accounts, building web pages, all that stuff. The reason I have a founding team is because it doesn't serve me just to step into that discomfort over and over again. I will not be able to create the magnitude of what I want to create. Because I want to go from where I am right now, where I'm choosing the discomforts. Oh man, I'm creating playlists for people. I'm working with the medicines. I am breathing. I am looking at client acquisition. I'm looking at the client journey, all these things. That's a challenge I want to take on right now because I want to experience that. And eventually I want to be at the stage more like Dr. Demartini, where it's like, all I do is I learn, I teach. I research, I teach, and I travel. That's all I do. And I'm like, okay, because getting to that clarity of, and there are challenges in all those parts still. There's always going to be challenges when we actually see the world that way. There's always going to be beautiful things that are happening as well. And the challenge is internal, right? It's not an external challenge. It's an internal challenge. It's always noticing, where is my current state? And can I be with a state that feels so elevated to the me that was 10 years ago and still notice the challenges I feel there, the lack that I may feel there? Right? It's watching an Olympic athlete soar down the hill and they're still seeing the places where they made mistakes. And part of it for me is, as I, in some ways, have idolized my brother. Oh my God, he's literally creating new surgical techniques, traveling around the world, created this level of financial success. His kids are doing well. He's got a wife that it looks like they're doing really well with each other. And recognizing, okay, there are parts that are really good. Not trying to judge that. There's parts that I wouldn't want to choose the same thing. How do I both love him for who he is without putting him on such a pedestal that I have to throw him down in order to make him feel more human? And then recognize as well, and this is the other part of DiMartini, is that I already have all those gifts as well. Just noticing I'm wearing my blue light blockers. It seems a little ridiculous, and that's okay. I look forward to being ridiculous, being known as ridiculous in a way. And I am. Right now you can't see it. You can see just a touch of orange, but bright, bright colors. It's embracing the technology. I look forward to getting the Meta glasses. And I look forward to them because they have an off switch. If I can't turn things off, it's probably a good sign that I don't actually want it in my life. Having more off switches, and that's probably part of it. Like, I look forward to building a business where it's called the on-off switch. There's always an on-off switch, right? And it's really, truly a hard off switch. Because how many of us are taking a look and saying, how do we just bend this rule a little bit? An on-off switch. Which reminds me, it's that life-death switch. Without the switch of death, it's not truly life in a way. And it's crazy because one of the superpowers I keep contemplating is the power of that infinite regeneration Wolverine. And then right now I'm just thinking of my dear friend who I met years ago, my first clients for coaching, who is an AI programmer. I'm like, I can't wait to send him another message. Hey, it's Charles Xavier calling Magneto. Are you wanting to go through a soul immersion and see what that provides? So watching these movies like Shogun and Mission Impossible and just noticing that there's so many games upon games being played, so many chess matches, if we want to look at that, with infinite number of variables. And that in these movies, they're showcasing opponents, they're showcasing maneuvers, they're showcasing that secret desires and secret wishes. And there's a part of me that wants to keep more secrets. And there's a big part of me that realizes my gift is when I actually reveal the secrets. And reality feels way easier and better as the secrets are being revealed. And then recognizing that it's part of the patterning and part of the process. That's part of my process right now, to notice that the patterns have been really guarding feelings and thoughts. And probably it's been important. My parents lost a child. I can't imagine the kind of thoughts and feelings that are behind it that could surface all the time that they're so practiced in pushing down. You know, I'm just imagining some of the people closest to me, they've been through wars, they've been through having to wade through bodies of dead people and what they have to suppress and push down, and also how that influences their patterns and what they're trying to provide. Oh, you've got to eat. There's got to be food. Don't think about these things. And that's the piece for me, the legacy I want to leave, is creating space for whatever challenge is going on, to have the openness to address them, to notice the waves where it comes and it goes. And that's a piece that I'm so grateful for Matt, one of my co-founders, to remind me, like, as this company grows, it's going to go through different challenges. As the legacy grows over the next 1,000 years, it's going to go through its own waves of challenges. And it's not that you can look back and say there's an objective right way to do things. I like these simple terms that, Tony Robbins using: pattern recognition, utilization, creation. Oh, can we even notice that there's music that's written on a page? Oh, can we actually practice reading the music and actually realizing music comes out of that? Oh, can we actually start creating music and writing it down so other people can do it as well? I have a poem that's similar to that I wrote for service that I'm going to look at again soon. Yeah. Because part of this is to remind myself, we have taken the mimetic theory, that trying to copy each other, a little too far. It's really good for marketing. It's really good for sales. That's how I sell 1,000 people on the same product, by actually schooling them to believe that they want the same thing. And then in so doing, it makes it feel easier to control them. And we may think, and this is part of me probably, seeing my own patterns, that's a reflection of the collective, that the best form of government is a benevolent dictator, right? Oh, a dictator who sees best. And that's how we kind of see God in a way. Or that's the view that's been given to us. Versus this other idea now that I'm seeing more and more, that there's an etheric energy field that permeates everything, that everything's being created from all the time. What if God could be a diffuse energy field? A diffuse reality, diffuse truth. And what if that is part of the key of the legacy of what I'm creating, is that who I am has learned from so many people who have so many skills, and I'm practicing over and over again, coming back to my own humility. It's not about me. It's not about me. It's not about being me. And I'll say it, and part of it is, it's a practice of stepping into really embodying it over and over again. And then also recognizing it isn't about me and it is all about me. Because right now, my experience of life is all about me too. And it's not. That's what we just heard from Teal Swan a couple days ago. Dependence. We are not independent beings. We are so dependent on each other. And it's so important to have the sense of self, because when you lose a sense of self and only have dependence, codependency. When you have so much self and try to believe that you don't depend on anyone else, you can call that narcissism. There's so many probably other terms for it. And it's just where you're lying on the spectrum currently relative to others and how they want to judge you too. There's some people that probably look at me from the outside and say, he's narcissistic, he only thinks of himself. Other people that think I'm selfless, and I'm not one, I'm not the other. And I'm practicing, I love that, like taking stuff from pop culture, and that was a thing from Family Guy. It's like Peter telling Lois, you're my silver medal. And I took that and I realized, oh my God, there's gold there. I am my own gold medal. So important. And then my beloved recently started to say the term boom shakalaka. And I don't know if she knew this before me. I don't know if she heard this from me. But it reminded me of the me that played NBA Jam, because that's where I first heard the term boom shakalaka. When you're on fire, when you're on a streak, gaming the system. And I played that on my Sega Game Gear, the only gaming system I got as a kid. And I got it because I thought that would change everything. And it didn't. It didn't change everything. It was never going to be an external thing. And I look forward to the day I enjoy playing video games again. And part of it is getting to the point when that is part of my life again. And I can recognize I'm in a different phase. Like, I choose to be the family man right now that I want to be. It doesn't mean I have to be this version of the family man forever. That's part of my own thing too, realizing it doesn't have to be this forever. I get to choose it for now. It's just like the diet. Last few days we've gone out a lot, and part of it is probably me being a little scared of stepping into the diet I know I'm going to step into. I just ordered the juice yesterday. I told myself I was going to do it, and part of me's like, it's okay if I don't do it today. All right, let's make these little goals, so to speak, that are priorities, and then just make it happen. It's simple. Every ending has a beginning, every beginning has an ending. Year of the wood snake, the year of practicing doing less, and it has been. I've been resting more. And I've been inviting other people to rest more. And in that resting, it's different from abdicating the throne or being lazy or being negligent. It's actually listening to our bodies a little bit. And I remember now the ceremony I had where I wanted to tell someone, and I did tell them, but I didn't have the confidence to say, just cancel everything for the next 30 days. And then add things back in and then see what's possible. And I'm noticing, am I saying that to myself as well? Cancel everything for the next 30 days. The schedule's pretty fucking open already. And part of it may be for me canceling my own stuff for the next 30 days. And it already has been too. Practice of canceling and rescheduling something. The practice of canceling and rescheduling something. I'll take a look at February. Cancel and reschedule everything. And see how that feels. See how that feels. See how that feels. That probably goes towards the appointment I have with one of my soul guides Let's cancel that, making it later. That's probably part of it. It's so much fun.